Hello friends, I'm Aaron Ciotti. Everybody calls me Ciotti. Welcome to Whoop Wednesday Tuning 101 and Q&A, of course, as usual. And maybe some thrust testing. I realized that we've done some thrust testing on computer. What's up? On propellers, but we haven't done anything on motors. I don't have a lot of extra motors, admittedly, but I do have a couple. So yeah, I'm kind of curious to see what some of these different motors will put down in terms of thrust. This is my full-time job. If you like what I'm doing here and you want to see it continue, head on over to CiottiFPV.com. Bunch of buttons you can click. The Patreon button is the one that helps me out the most. $3 whole a month, and you can join. For whatever reason, Patreon's been falling off. And I really do rely on it to have like something approaching a paycheck to keep on doing this full time. So if you have a couple extra dollars, buy yourself an early Christmas present and hop onto my Patreon. I swear to God, it's worth more than the 10 cents a day that you're going to pay. If you're addicted to gambling, I got you covered there too. $5, $10, $20 a month will put you in on some giveaways that we do every other Monday. This next upcoming Monday is going to be a giveaway live stream. So jump on the Patreon right now, and you can get in on this coming Monday's thing in the place. Let me see what motors I have here. So we can test a Beta FPV 1102 18,000. We can test a Happy model 0803 16,000. I've got a Zing. Why would they make it so small? Pirate mode, engage. I've got a Zing 0802 22,000 that we can test. I have a Happy model 1102 19,000 that we can test. And then a whole bunch of these newbie drone motors, but these are all these all use the small plugs, the non-standard plugs. Although I think I have a couple. Yeah, so I have a newbie drone motor with the PCB. We can just really quickly solder on. I'm very curious to see what these newbie drone motors will do. 0802 18,000. So we will solder on a standard connector to one of these guys. We have tested three different motors actually so far, come to think of it. Jason Black, thanks for subscribing, brother. We've tested three different motors. We've tested the Weebleed FPV 0702 28,500s, the Tiny Whoop 0702 30,000s. Did I say Weebleed 0703? I didn't mean it. Weebleed 0702 28,500. And then we've also tested Weebleed FPV Prototype 0802 0802 21,500 kV motors. So yeah, we have done some testing, not a lot, but I'm curious to put a couple of different, to just get some more motor testing in here. I do have an old school newbie drone 0802 20,000, but I don't know if you can get them anymore, and it doesn't have the right connector on it. So let's just test this one newbie drone motor. I don't think it's going to make much power. But yeah, let's represent newbie drone a little bit. And then I do have a couple of, I forgot, I got a couple of extra motors here that are, so I've got these Tiny Whoop 0802 30,000s that are hooked up to a frame. Those are the full can. Oh man, I got a bunch. Okay, no, I got a bunch of motors here. Let me get this out here and. Okay, cool. So, oh fuck, I just dropped everything. Everything fell down. It's chaos. I live in a world of chaos. 0702s. I've also got the Happy model. 0702 26,000s. So we can test those little bastards out. I'm actually kind of excited to test these little guys. So we got one of these we can test out. We've already tested the 28,500 and the 30,000 kV 702, so we don't need to redo that. These are the full size, ooh, amazing, Happy model 0802 25,000 kV. And then I even have, I don't know what they are though. I think this is the right bell. Some of these motors I've switched the bells on, and when you do that, unless you, and I've switched it to like a different bell. This is an 0802. This is another 25,000. I thought that I had a 27. Nah, it doesn't look like I do. So we've got the 0802 25,000 covered. That's the full size. And then there's also the EX, the lightweight 0802. And I've got this in two different KVs. I've got this in 25,000. Just have to find one of them. Man, I have a bunch of these. Hey, there it is. I've got it in 25,000 here. And then I've got a 19,000, but it looks like those leads. Oh, those are the ones that came with the, it came with something. I've also got a 19,000 here with the lead on it. And then I should have 30,000 somewhere. Where the hell are they? Here they are. I've got 30,000s in this bag because these are what I had on that Mobula 7 when I had it really flying good. Yeah, here they are. Tiny Whoop Hex 802 30,000s. So we've got 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 different motors that we can test out. And then we might as well, we will put those motors to do the testing on these rigs that have the 702, 28,000, 500, and 30,000s. So yeah, and I think we're going to test them all on the Gemfan biblades because they're just awesome. Like they make the same, they somehow make the same amount of thrust as like all the other props, minus like 1 or 2 grams in some fringe cases. Yeah, I mean I feel like they're also the propeller that most people are gonna kind of have. I'll put it this way: the Gemfan biblade, if you have a Tiny Whoop and you don't have a Gemfan biblade, you're doing it wrong. You need to get some because they're amazing. Hold on, I gotta pull my pants up. It's fucking cold here, yo. So the original plan for tonight was to switch my Cinewhoops over from props out to props in and talk about it and show you guys some flight footage. But it has not stopped raining in fucking days. So yeah, I can't do that, which is very annoying. Hey, I've got a Tiny Whoop edit coming. What do you think of that? I did it last night. I flew 6 batteries last night down here at like 3 a.m. And I decided to dump them all into Premiere and chop them up. So it's almost done. I'm going to try to get that edit knocked out after the stream tonight. Throw a little music on it and have a little edited Tiny Whoop video of we're just railing around down here. Last night I was again really trying to feel the difference between these prototype propellers and the Gemfan biblades, and I'm not quite there yet. I'm definitely feeling something, but I just can't quite put my finger on what it is, which is very annoying, and that's also what she said. Or not. So yeah, we're gonna do some fun shit here tonight. In the chat, Bulldog FPV was first, Four Little Pigs was next, PJ, Flush FPV, Cole Powers, Isaac Mitchell, Northern Tier, Stevo, 43068, 413 FPV, Stream Elements, We Bleed FPV, what's up Zotech, CMYK FPV, Brandon's Baked Beans, Little Stellar Fox, what's up Jamie, how are you? Flush FPV, Ram Donko, CMYK FPV, Jesse Garcia, 413 again, Ram Donko, Bob Bruce, Cody No Sleeves, that's a fun name, and Athix FPV. Hello, friends. How are you? I just got out of the shower, so my face is maybe a little jacked up. What's new? Jacked up face man in the house. There's a weird shadow over there. Hey, look at, check this out. This is, what? Oh, it switched. Hold on. You guys want to see Big Booty Judy? Check out Big Booty Judy. Bam! Ooh! Look at that big booty on Judy. Ooh, wee! Judy got the big booty. Ooh! Ooh! Ooh, Judy! What you gonna do with all that booty? So this is in our driveway last night. So this is a photography process called light painting. And I wish I'd done it on here rather than on the laptop. I did it on the laptop. If I'd done it on this computer, I'd be able to show you the different layers in Photoshop. But basically the base exposure of this is just black, just completely black. Well, not really. There's the neighbor's window is here, but I clone tooled that out. So yeah, your base exposure is just completely black, which is what you want. You then take a constant on light source and you wave it around the car. So you set your camera up on a tripod. You set the shutter speed to like multiple seconds, 2 seconds, 3 seconds, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 seconds, depending upon how much external light is coming in. You want the longer the shutter time, the better, because it gives you more time to wave your light source around. In this case, I was limited to between 3 and 4 seconds. Otherwise, I would start to get ambient light coming in and polluting the exposure. So yeah, then you take your nice bright light source. So I was using the my Fill video light over here, which is battery powered, and you trigger the exposure. The shutter opens up right when the camera is off. Before you push the button on the camera, it's got its little eyes closed. As soon as you push the button, it opens its eyes up, and it keeps its eyes open for the same amount of time that you've set for your shutter speed. So in my case, it's 3.5 seconds, right? So it opens up its eyes for 3.5 seconds. In that 3.5 seconds, your constant on light source can become essentially a big long light source, right? Like when they photograph cars in a studio, they have a softbox that's like 20 feet by 40 feet up above the car. Well, that's hard to do. Those are expensive, right? So light painting is a process where you can simulate that. So you have a constant on light source. The camera has now opened its eyes and it's letting all of the light in. Your base exposure is so dark that it's really not letting any light in. So your light source that you're moving around is the light that it's going to be letting in. And as you move that light source, because it's a still photograph and it's on the tripod, that light source streaks and it becomes a bigger light source, right? The panel that I'm using is only this big, but as I move it, as far as the camera knows, because it's stationary, as I move it, it becomes a bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger light source. So, for example, this streak right here, down the window, this is one pass. And you can kind of see it. Like, you can kind of see how the edge of the light source gets a little, it's not perfectly crisp. And that's because I'm moving it the length of the car. So, what you do is, you can try to do it all in one frame, but that's kind of silly. What you actually do is multiple exposures. So I'll do one, and especially because I could only have the shutter open for 3.5 seconds, I definitely had to do this in multiple exposures. So you run one pass front to back where you put this nice streak down the middle of the windows, just because that looks, it's just a really cool look in my opinion. You do another pass behind the car, and the pass that you do from behind the car does what's called defining the edges. It literally defines the outer edge of the car. All right? So you do a big pass behind the car, and then when you do that pass with the light, you've got this big ugly streak from the light. And on the windows here, we left the streak of light because windows are clear, so the streak of light is how you can see the windows exist. But the pass that we do behind the car, there's a big ugly light source. So what you do in Photoshop is you just remove that. You stack a bunch of these exposures on top of each other, and then you can just remove that big ugly streak. And then you do one pass for the rear tire. You do one exposure for the front tire. For those exposures, you just kind of move the light source around like this. You just want to simulate like a bigger softbox, a bigger light source, so that you don't have sharp shadows. So you do that in the front wheel, you do that in the back wheel. And then what I wish I'd done is a pass. So you see it gets a little bit dim in the middle of the car here. I wish I'd done another pass where I was being sloppy, and I haven't done light painting in probably about 10 years. So I forgot that the middle of the car can get a little bit dark here. So yeah, I wish I'd done one extra pass with the light source down low to light up the middle of the car. So basically, I would have done a pass. The streak on the windows, that was a pass that I did with the light source up above my head, right? So the camera is down low. So you gotta think about the angles of refraction. So the camera is down low, so it's shooting down towards the side of the car. Well, the windows on the car are angled up a little bit, angled away, right? So the light bounces off those windows high. So you got to do a pass with the light source up above your head so that it bounces off the windows and goes down into the camera lens. That's only the case if you're shooting down low. Typically with cars, you want to shoot down low. If you were doing like a higher up, if you had your tripod really high, 6-7 feet in the air, and you were shooting down on the car, then you would have that light source in a slightly different spot. But yeah, you got to just... once you've done this a bunch, you kind of learn the angles and it just becomes pretty natural. The other thing that you do is you just do a whole bunch of passes. You do like 20 exposures and you do a pass up high, you do a pass here, you do a pass there when you're learning. Once you've learned it, you kind of know roughly, you can kind of look at the car and just draw the angles in your head. But yeah, I should have done a pass down low with the light source like at this much of an angle, and that would have dumped a whole bunch of light on the body of the car here. And what you're doing is when you're doing the actual photography, you're just kind of covering all of your bases. You're making sure you have an exposure with the front wheel exposed properly, the rear wheel exposed properly. You have an exposure that outlines the car. You have an exposure with a nice streak on the windows. Sometimes you'll even do an exposure where you light up the interior. That's kind of cool. In this case, I did not do that. I have another exposure where another image where I did do that. But yeah, you're covering your bases so that you have light on all different parts of the car. You're also literally drawing differently sized soft boxes. So you can do shit like this. Like you can try, it's really creative and it's really fun. And then you take all those exposures. In this case, this image was actually only 5 exposures. And then since it was all on the tripod, which is locked down tight because you don't want the tripod to drift at all every time you push the shutter button. My camera has a self-timer continuous exposure. So I just set that to 5, push the button, it gives me 4 seconds to walk up there, and then it triggers it, opens the shutter, 3.5 seconds, closes the shutter, opens it back up again, 3.5 seconds, closes it, opens it, and it does that 5 times in a row. So I just, boom, like one pass, next pass, next pass, next pass, next pass, and it's all done. You then take all those exposures, you bring them into Photoshop, and you layer them on top of each other. The car has not moved because the tripod is just banging away each different exposure. You go into each layer, you create a layer mask, and you change the mode, I forget just the mode, from normal, which when the mode is on normal, the top image, the top layer is the one that you see. You can change it to lighten. When you change it to lighten, it only takes the highlights from each image. So when you change it to lighten, you have like everything. You have a bunch of garbage. And then with the layer mask, what you go in and do is you can just erase stuff. You can erase the ugly streak from when we did the exposure behind the car. You can erase anything that just doesn't quite look right. And what's cool is as you erase it, it still shows you the rest of the layers. So you can I can erase right down, and I actually had to. I had to erase right down in the middle of this, right down the middle of the car, because there were some weird shadows from me walking past the car, and that's okay. You erase the shadow of yourself walking, and it leaves the other exposures. And in this case, I had the one nice exposure where I lit the front wheel, I had the other nice exposure where I lit the rear wheel, and there was some spill that kind of covered the middle of the car here. And that, my friends, is light painting. And you can create some images that you really literally wouldn't otherwise be able to get. Like this image that you're looking at is basically an image with two 12-foot long soft boxes above the car, and then 2 gigantic soft boxes lighting up each the front tire and then the rear tire, and then there's a little highlight on the booty that I did, which is emulating like a big man, I forget all the names of the soft boxes in photography, but yeah, it's emulating these giant soft boxes that are very expensive and a complete pain in the ass to set up and store and build and whatnot. And there you go. This is my first shot at light painting in probably about 10 years. And it came out really decent. There's some stuff that I don't love about it, but there's a lot of stuff that I do like about it. This is the first time I've light painted a white car. I typically light paint. I got into light painting because I owned 2 black cars, the Miata and the Cobra. And with black paint, it's just a mirror. Like, you can't shine a flashlight in black paint and see it, if it's clean at least. So this light painting process is really important for black cars because the black car is a huge mirror. So you have to use the same technique. That a black car is basically just the windows here, right? So like in between the windows here, you get a little bit of what's called a diffuse reaction because there's a texture to it. But the windows themselves are exactly what a black car is. And you'll notice that down here, you can't see anything. Up here, you can't see anything. But here, where the light streak is, you can actually see something, which is the reflection of the softbox, of the light source. So with a black car, the only thing that you can show is the direct reflection of the softbox. So you have to work way harder on a black car. With a white car, you can just kind of move it around and a bunch of that light will spill onto the white paint and it'll then diffuse out. So there's 2 types of reflections. There's diffuse and there's direct. A diffuse reflection is every color but black. And so the light coming in hits it and then it explodes out in all directions and it shows up. That's what we're looking at here. That's what the majority of this is looking at. Then there's a direct reflection. Direct reflection is black paint, smooth black paint, and a mirror, where the light goes in and hits it, and it only bounces off in one very specific direction. So with a black car, you got to really learn these angles of exactly where the camera lens is, because that angle from the softbox to the black paint to the camera is the only thing you're going to see. But if you do it right, it's absolutely gorgeous. I have a bunch of examples over on my personal Facebook page, which I don't really use all that much or accept many friend requests on. I have like 1 billion friend requests pending, just because I don't use it much. But here are a couple examples of light painting a black car. It's really like, it's just brutal, but the results that you can get are just amazing. So you can see like the black paint, like right here, this part of the black paint, it's black, but it's just nothing. There's no reflection coming off it. Well, here you can actually see something's going on. That's the reflection from the tree and the window. This down here, all this bright white, this is my softbox. And then down here, I actually lit the grass in order to get this direct reflection down the side of the car here. So yeah, black car, and then down here, this bottom part of the front, the front lip here, you know, this would just be all black without a direct, like this is a specific layer that I put in with this highlight to show the front lip there. So yeah, it's really cool. Here's a really drastic example of light painting, right? There's like nothing going on here. All I did, I think, was one pass behind the car, and that's that white streak that you can see. And then there's a bunch of like street lamps and shit in this parking lot that are giving you little tiny pinpoints around here. But for the most part, it's just black because it's black paint, and there's nothing bouncing off of it. But I added that one white line to kind of show the hood line and the cool little bubble in the hood of the of the 99 Miata. And now here's one where I really layered it up, and I really did a whole bunch of different passes. One pass across the hood, one pass for the windshield, another pass for this side window, another pass for this streak down the side of the car, another pass for the front lip, another pass for the tires, and then down low here, the little side skirt. Yeah. Now that everybody has tuned out because this is not a photography live stream, we can move on. But yeah, I figured I'd show you guys Big Booty Judy. I drove the Big Booty girl today, and man, that's a nice car right there. I mean, I've always heard that Acura TSXs are awesome, and that they're kind of a little bit of like a unicorn. People compare them. It's technically a Honda Accord, but people compare them to the Integra. And I can kind of get it now. It's yeah, man, what an awesome car. 40-something thousand miles, just tight as a drum. It's got a K24 engine, which is arguably the best 4-cylinder engine ever produced. Makes great power, 200 horsepower, with not much less than 200 foot-pounds of torque. It's a 5-speed automatic, which is the one thing that kind of lets it down. But, you know, Maggie is not a car lunatic. So, I mean, they didn't make it with a manual. But, yeah, automatics are fine. Don't hate on automatics. When you get old, you'll learn to love automatics. We've in the chat, folks, if you want to talk directly to me in the chat's over here for me. Type CiottiFPV. It'll light up an orange, and I'll know that you're talking to me. We Believe FPV says, good evening. Hello, hello, all. CMYK says, yo, dude. Also says, dude, I must be doing something to these flight controllers. Third one that's not giving me beeps 4 and 5 after wiring up. Check this one before soldering. Much sadness. What the hell is going on? I mean, you've done builds before with individual flight controllers and ESCs, right? What could possibly be going on? I mean, same thing that I said last time. I've seen a staggering increase in components that just don't work over the last 6 months. And if you're buying them from the same place, or if they're being replaced from the same place, CMYK, it could have been a bad run. But yeah, I mean, it's getting to the point where it's a bit much. And you're trying this with RPM filtering turned off and turned on, right? We Bleed FPV says 0802 21,500 kV new batch is coming, going to test now. 0802 23,500 kV, very cool. Man, those are light 0802s. 430, those are the prototype motors I tested last week, maybe the week before, and I really dug them, and they kind of opened my eyes to how important throttle resolution is. So I've been, yeah, I was really intrigued by that test, because 21,500, I haven't flown a 21,500 kV tiny whoop motor in forever. So to get to fly one again was really, really nice. And the 0802s are like noticeably more grunty. They just have more ass than the 0702s. I love how light the 0702s are, and I still prefer them. But yeah, testing those prototype motors was really, really cool. And it's had me thinking ever since. 413 FPV says, CiottiFPV or anyone, can I use 40mm props on 1002 15,500 kV motors? You can indeed. What's 40mm? Is that 2-inch? 40mm in inches. Nah, it's 1.6. Yeah, that's actually kind of the right prop for that size motor. A 1002 is way too big of a motor for the smaller prop size. I do props by inches. 40mm is 1.6 inch prop. The smaller tiny whoop props are 1.2 inches. And a 1002 is way too big for the smaller propellers. I guess maybe the really pitchy quad blade Gemfans, maybe a 1002 would be okay on, but I still think that would be too big of a motor for it. Ramdonko says, do you think the bi-blades burn the battery quicker? P.S. I've fried all my old batteries, so swapping out as we speak. I don't know. If anything, the bi-blades should help. The bi-blades, I mean, just in general, the less blades a propeller has, the more efficient it is. So, yeah, if anything, bi-blades will burn motors out slower. Because they are more efficient. They're going to put less load on the motor. Specifically when the PID loop is doing its thing, speeding the motor up, slowing the motor down, speeding the motor up, slowing the motor down. Bi-blades have a huge advantage there, because they are lighter. And so, yeah, when the PID loop is going full beans, a bi-blade is going to perform better. If anything, a quad blade is going to burn the batteries out quicker because it's less efficient. The efficiency difference comes from the distance between the tips of each propeller. Each propeller blade is like an airplane wing. You've got a high pressure zone and a low pressure zone. Well, at the end of the propeller blade, those high and low pressure zones are going to interact and they're going to create turbulence. So every time a propeller blade comes around, it's got a little cone of turbulence behind it. If there's another propeller blade coming right into that turbulence, that's garbage, dirty air. That's bad. So a bi-blade, it has the maximum possible distance between the two tips of the propeller blades so that turbulence can disperse as much as possible before the next propeller tip comes around into it. With a quad blade, you've got, 4 blades. So they're closer. Bob Bruce says, how's it going again? How's it going, CiottiFPV and gang? What's up, Bob? Avik says, hey, Ciotti. CMYK says, Judy thick. PJ says, oh, I love light painting. Nice shot. Thank you, brother. CMYK says, coming hot with the high-level photo composite and light painting. Yeah, it's funny. Like, to me, light painting is fairly straightforward. But it is a more advanced technique. What's cool about light painting, though, is that like you can just go screw around with it, and during the process of screwing around with it, you're gonna figure it out. Some stuff like is not quite that easy. Like some stuff you have to do more like book learning basically to kind of figure out. But yeah, light painting is the kind of thing where just go do it. Like sure, watch a couple of YouTube videos on it. But just go do it and you'll kind of figure it out as you do it. And then the other cool thing about light painting is like you achieve a very high quality of light. Quality of light is, based upon like mainly the size of the light source. There's a bunch of like, how color accurate the light is and how much spill there is. There's all these things that go into the quality of light. But the most important thing for the quality of the light is the size of the softbox. In most cases, a bigger light source, a bigger softbox looks better. So with light painting, it's like the fucking easy button for that. Because as you move, your light source changes into this massive, pretty uniquely shaped thing. And doing that with actual softboxes is just a real pain in the ass. And yeah, doing it with light painting is hysterically fun. Because you're just out there walking around. You look like a complete jackass because you're in the dark, in the complete darkness, moving a thing around all over the place. So people will be like, what the fuck are you doing, yo? And then you just say, go to hell. Say whatever you want. Arizona FPV with a cool question. He says, didn't tag me, but I just happened to see it. He says, have you tried using a drone for light painting? It lets you draw lines in the sky. I've been meaning to do it forever because, and I actually bought this session-shaped little LED light from Amazon like fucking eons ago. This is literally the exact... a couple different companies make these little cube LED lights, but this is the only one that's the exact same... Not the exact, but it's close enough in size to an actual session where you can just drop this into a session mount. This is a knockoff one. It's made by Ulanzi, Ulanzi. See, I bought this, but I've never used it. I mean, I've used it for other stuff, just like kind of farting around, but I've never actually put this. That's not true. That's not true. I did put this into a drone at a drift event, actually. I had Squints FPV follow me. I told Squints, like, yo, I'm gonna be your light source. Because once I put this in the session mount, I couldn't have an HD cam, right? So I was flying a rig without an HD cam. So I was like, Adam, I'm going to be your light source. You just chase me. Let me be close to the car, because I didn't think this was going to be bright enough to really illuminate the car. And we'll see what we get. So we did an entire battery with him chasing me. And as it turns out, I ended up chasing T-Pain on that run. And I actually crashed into the front of his car. And the 5-inch rig flipped upside down in the front grille of his car, and it like got stuck in the front grille, and he drug it all the way around for an entire lap with this light like shining all awkwardly into the hood, and then I ran down into paddock, and we had a good laugh about it. So yeah, but that's the only time I've ever actually put this up in the air. I was really hot and heavy into photography in my 20s and some of my 30s, and I really burned out on it. And so I just don't do photography stuff much anymore, which is really the reason that I haven't done any light painting with this. But I've been meaning to. What I've been kind of hoping is that like I would meet a photographer in Atlanta that was interested in light painting, and then I'd be like, yo, I've got a really cool idea for you. I can put a light into like any scenario. It was actually one of the reasons why I went to the Foxeer Toothless Nano Starlight cameras, is so that I could fly in less light. But yeah, I just never got around to it. It's one of the things that I just haven't had a chance to do. But yeah, maybe now that I want to do some cool photography of this car, because it's sexy as hell, and yeah, it's nice to kind of brush off the dust from some of your old skills and make sure that you stay fresh with them. So maybe this will be my... what I'll do, actually, is I will light paint the... I'm actually going to leave that... I'm going to leave this out, because I will light paint the... I will light paint Big Booty Judy. And that'll be my excuse to both use this and make a cool image. I mean, I've the other reason why I didn't do it is a bunch of people did it. Like the first person did it, and then it was like, oh shit, I never even thought of that. And then a whole bunch of other people did it, and then I was like, all right, well, now it's played out. But enough time has now kind of gone by where I'm sort of cool doing it again. I'll go do it now that it's not the cool thing, because God forbid we ever do the cool thing. Because then people that we don't know or care about might think that we're just biting off motherfuckers. And, you know, you can't have that. It's really important to not have that. Who fucking cares? I hate that my monkey brain cares about that kind of shit. But recognizing stuff like that is the first step to fixing it. Medicine Man Cometh Fund. The Medicine Man Cometh Fund is back. And I want to say that we were at roughly $50, so I'm going to leave it there. It's a good number. Good round number. Excellent question, Arizona. If you want to get my attention and talk to me in the chat, just type CiottiFPV and it'll light up an orange, like these people have done. If you don't type CiottiFPV, usually I won't see your comment and I'll just assume that you're talking amongst yourselves. So yeah, do it. I'm not one of these guys. This live stream is not big enough where I have to say, like, don't at me because the chat gets filled up with ads. I'm the opposite. And like, the most valuable thing that I've got for you guys is, like, Q&A. The Q&A is included in every single live stream I've done for the last almost 2 years. And it's the most value I can possibly give you. So absolutely at me. and ask me any questions that you've got, because that's the beauty of live streaming. McConnell Studios says, I follow a few photographers that create insane light painting effects with fiber optic lines I use for my artwork. Seen here. Oh, that's super cool. We are going to copy link address. Well, that's going to YouTube. What's happening here? Oh, no, it's going to Instagram. Oh, my God. That's wild. I don't know if this will get... Oh, my God. That's absurd. I've not played around much with this style. I don't think I'll get copyright dinged from Instagram, but so this is another style of light painting. I tend to hide the light source. This is a style of light painting where you use the light source as like a part of the image. And it's really, really, really cool. I just haven't gone down that road before. Oh, that's interesting. I've always wondered about using lasers. Man, really cool stuff. Good God, look at this. Look at some of these. Yeah, there's all kinds of really cool stuff that you can do with light painting. It's really, really fun, and super, super, super creative. McConnell Studios also says, you have some of that stuff, you should play with it. I do. And now that I've realized that our little driveway is kind of a good spot for it, I can hook up the power supply. Although I've been meaning to get a Milwaukee sells a little box that you hook up to their batteries that gives you just a regular old household plug. I wonder if that would be enough to drive the power supply that those guys work, so I could then take them out somewhere and use them. PJ says it's a blending mode. That's it. It's the blending mode. You change the blending mode from normal to lighten, and then that each layer, it just gives you the stuff that's brighter than the layer below it. Thank you, PJ. Espander says, wow, I thought it was a nice picture when I saw it, but never thought it was that much work. It is certainly some work, that's for sure. Like that image probably took me all in half an hour last night, probably a little bit more than that. But I was a little bit rusty. The thing is, though, that it creates an image that's like kind of a showstopper, right? And in order to get still images that are at that quality, it takes time. Like, it either takes time planning when and where you're going to take the picture, because location, right? Or it takes a ton of time in post, in Photoshop and Lightroom to really tweak the shit out of it. And whereas with a light painted image, you don't really spend that much time in post. The majority of the time you spend in post is just layering each image and picking which spot. You don't end up having to spend a ton of time with curves and burning and dodging and stuff like that, because you're sort of doing that within the layers, picking what you want from each part of the in this case, the car. So it's not as bad as you'd think. And I have found that, I will say that light painting is very easily overused. But I have definitely found that to get that good of an image, light painting is actually one of the quickest ways to do it. When you kind of look at it like holistically, like what does it take to produce an image that's like really, really, really good, you know? So yeah, I find light painting to be kind of the easy button for creating something that like really, really, really stands out. You just got to be careful, because you can, like I said, you can really, really, really overuse it. Actually, one of my favorite light painted images was of a buddy of mine, and this might have been the last time that I did it, which was my buddy's 4th generation Miata RF. And this was one of the moments that I realized how cool it is to light paint a car that's not black. His RF, the new RF Miata is the one with the mechanical folding hardtop. Oh, there's another sexy one that I did. So this is the light painting is the white, and then I'm doing such a long exposure that the sky went very blue, and the front the ambers and the tail lights started to really show up on the ground, which really came out nice. But I think the best I've ever done with it was with Maxime's car, and it should be right around here. Right around here. We did it in front of a spot in Charleston that unfortunately has been now since torn down. There it is. Although this is just me pointing the camera at the screen, but whatever, you'll get the picture. But yeah, this is my buddy's RF Miata, and it was a really cool graffiti with some weird guy that almost a little bit kind of looks like me. But yeah, this is one of the best I've ever done with light painting. This was really fun, and I'd really started to figure out how to show the lines on cars with like different layers, and I just did a ton of layers on this and just really took my time on it. Yeah, it's just a fascinating way of creating still images, and it kind of like it's cool too because it like mixes motion with stills, which is also kind of cool. Expander says this Miata pick is awesome. Thank you, brother. Todd's Nightmare says just bought a 2021 WRX on Black Friday. The Acura looks nice, man. Thank you, dude. Brandon McBean says, doesn't this sound right? Because you say multiple ESCs, no 4/5 beeps on the new build, so I wonder if the motor protocol isn't set. 4.3 doesn't set it to D-Shot by default, so this might catch you. Very true. That is a new thing in Betaflight, is that they don't set the motor protocol. That is one of the painfully right in front of your face things that has actually gotten me before. So yeah, definitely check that CMYK. I hope that it's not that, because you're going to be angry, as you should. Ram Doggo says, smash the old batteries, no screen till she drops. What? What's that mean, Ram? Almac says, figured out the actual rates and got this Mobula 6 shredding furniture. Very cool. Almac, keep playing with your rates. But once you get them to a point where you're somewhat happy with them, just leave them alone and just put a whole bunch of batteries in. Another trucking FPV channel says, think I'm getting OCD a bit. Your smallest drone is in the wrong position behind you on the left shoulder. What it actually is that this has a black frame, and then this has a clear frame. So this is a clear frame with a carbon fiber X plate. These are all they're all the same. Oh no, the one of them is standing up a little bit more than the other ones. There you go. But yeah, so now they're all standing up the same. But yeah, it still looks wrong because this one's a clear frame. I want to get these all onto clear frames, but I only had black frames, so it kind of is what it is. All right, friends, let's do some stuff. Let's get to work. What are we doing? Tiny Whoop Tuning 101. Let's talk tuning first. Hey, also, is there a way that I can type into the description of this? I want to start leaving time codes, but I have to, oh god, no. I have to figure out a way to do it somewhat live. Yeah, I can. Okay, cool. So I can leave a window open with the description field, and then I can just go here and do 00:00-intro, and then that's gonna start the time codes off. So what are we at? Jesus, we're at 54. All right, so I'm gonna do 55:00:55. I forget what the formatting needs to be. Maybe that's the formatting. Tiny Whoop Tuning 101. I'll just do Tiny Whoop Tuning. So 00:55. 55. So yeah, that should work. Cool. So let's talk tiny whoop tuning, friends. I noticed last night one of these two rigs, I can't show you the other one because it's got the prototype props on it. I noticed that one of these two rigs has a little bit of a wobble. I don't remember which one it is. We're going to figure that out first. But yeah, one of these has a wobble in a pretty extreme situation. But we're going to tune it out, and you guys are going to learn about tuning as I do that. Basically, when I do a power loop and I go full throttle up and then snap it like this and just let it sit, as I snap it to that point, one of these two has a little bit of a wobble that occurs. It looks like it's happening on the roll axis. It's really hard to tell though, but regardless, when it's at zero throttle and it's just been really fired backwards, it doesn't have the PID loop does not have the ability with the tune where it's at currently, which is pretty cranked up, to keep it absolutely locked in space. Fair warning, if we're going to go in and make the tune more aggressive in that scenario, the motors use thrust more than braking to stabilize the rig. The motors can only brake a little bit, whereas they can produce a lot of thrust. So more than likely, the changes that we're going to make to fix this are going to take away some of the hang time. So that's something that I'm going to be very cognizant of. Brandon's Baked Beans spoiled the surprise as to what's going to fix this problem in the chat, but I'm not going to say it out loud in case you're just listening to this. You have to wait. But yeah, so although there is, it might not be that, but well, it's that will certainly help it. But there are other things that might assist. That is the last thing that I'm going to do, because that is the thing that is going to have the worst effect on the inverted hang time. So we're going to try some other methods first, but so yeah, keep that in mind. The more you crank up your PID tune, the more it's going to use thrust to correct the problem. So always kind of think as holistically as you can to your understanding of the way these damn things work, and never just like, oh, this is the fix for sure, and then all of a sudden it's flying weird and you're like, all right. So yeah, kind of keep that in mind. But we're going to troubleshoot this. While we're at it, I'm going to do some, I'm going to turn the tune all the way down and show you what this flies like with a relatively stock tune. It's still pretty good, but and in the process of doing it, we're going to do all of our tuning in the OSD so that you guys can watch me do it live. And yeah, you guys are going to learn a bunch because tuning is a little confusing. It is easier than it's ever been. The majority of what we're going to do is going to be with the master multiplier slider, which just works phenomenally well. But we're also going to be talking about P to D ratios, and I'm going to try to make it as simple as possible for you guys. And I'm just going to give you a lot of here's what I find works for the way that I fly. If you don't want to fly as cinematic as me and you want to fly more thrashy, take what I'm going to give you with a grain of salt, because that's not me. I do a lot in tuning to smooth out rough edges and to make the footage as palatable as possible for non-pilots. And that's basically a cinematic flying style, right? Like cinematic as in cinema, as in movies, as in millions of people go to see them. Cinematic is the opposite of fellow FPV pilots, right? Like, as FPV pilots, we can watch the most jacked up, herky-jerky, asinine footage ever and not get motion sickness and be like, oh, wow, that pilot is either really bad or maybe really good. So yeah, keep that in mind. Bob Bruce says, I have a Mobula 7 ELRS on 0702 28,500s with the biblades, and I have a Mobula 6 on the way, 26,000 on it. Should I swap the motors to get more performance out of the little guy? For sure. An 0702 is too small for a Mobula 7. Mobula 7 with the bigger 1.6 inch propellers, at the very least you want an 0802. if you're going to do a bi-blade, you can get away with an 0802, but if you're going to do a tri-blade, you're going to want to go up to a 1002 or even 1102 for sure on the 1.6 inch props. The 0702s are just barely big enough for the 1.2 inch props, and they really work well on the bi-blades. When you put them onto tri-blades, you start to see that the 0802s are actually better on these 1.2 inch props when you get them onto a tri-blade. But the 0702s with the bi-blades are a really, really nice combo. So I've got 6 batteries charged. Let's start ripping through them, and we're going to talk tuning, and we're going to fix this little issue. Maybe I'll leave the issue alone because it is pretty subtle. And in order to fix the issue, more than likely, we're going to have to take away from the inverted hang time, and I don't necessarily want to do that. This is one of the reasons why just cranking up, like absolutely cranking your PID tune up as far as it'll go is not always the best thing, because there are limitations. There are potential problems is a strong word, but there are secondary effects to kind of doing that. It's not no free lunch, so to speak. I really need it to stop raining. God damn it, so I can get these Cinewhoops in the air. Cabo is coming at me fast. I gotta be ready for it, yo. Hold on, grab my transmitter. Oh, come on out of there. Would you just, can't you, can you, Stupid crossfire. Who needs it? All right, here we go. Is that all the way in there? Yeah, we're good. All right, people. So, first things first, I gotta figure out which of these rigs is exhibiting that weird behavior. So I think it's the rig with the prototype propellers. The Gemfan bi-blades that are on this rig are the lightest propellers, and with a light propeller, that helps the PID loop. The PID loop makes corrections by speeding up and slowing down the motor and prop. The lighter the propeller, the quicker it can speed up and slow down. So more than likely, this is not the rig with the issue, because the other rig with the prototype props on it, the prototype props are heavier. I'm just going to say that. So a heavier prop, and both of these rigs are on 702s. So yeah, a heavier propeller is going to slow down the response time of your propeller and motor combo. And when that happens, the PID loop doesn't perform as good. When the response time is very low, the PID loop can very quickly add or subtract thrust to keep a rig absolutely locked in three-dimensional space. So let's fly this first, because I'm pretty sure this is not the rig that has the issue. We'll get this out of the way. I'll get a little bit warmed up, and then we can move over to this other rig where I think we're having the issue. I left the VRX plugged in yet again. One of these days it's going to explode, and I won't be able to blame it because I keep leaving it plugged in like a dum-dum. Okay, so 300 mAh BT 2.0 battery on the, this is the Tiny Whoop motored Mobula 6 Ultimate Freestyle build. Let's take a look. Oh god, that's in horizon mode. Much better. Oh my god! I mean, I didn't mean to sack tap the star on the top of the tree so perfectly, but I'll take it. All right, so let's just get warmed up. Oh god. Hold on. Come on. Come on. There you go. Oh! I got. I don't know if I just went through that, but that was pretty sick looking regardless. So right there, what I did is where this behavior is happening. So it's when you do a big backflip and you snap it. And what I have to do to tell if it's doing it is like look at the ceiling. So big up. Yeah, so this is not the rig that's doing it. As I'm off throttle and it's skimming against the ceiling, this rig is perfectly solid. Like, it's just, there's no wobble at all. Now that's crash prevention, flipping it over because I hit the ceiling. See how it's absolutely locked in the whole time? You're gonna see on this other rig that we're gonna get a little bit of wobble there. So, let's just fly this battery. Oh, we're playing some drums! I just wanted to hit the snare drum, but I hit the snare and the cowbell. Oh boy. Man, I might turn off crash prevention on one of these rigs just so that I can play the drums better with it. Let's just do some frying. Whoa boy! Whoa boy! Oh! I'm starting to figure out these like wall rides in order to turn around, which I'm really digging. It's only a matter of time before I hit myself in the face with one of those. Ah! Thought I could sneak it in there. That's what she said. Wait, no, it's not. Ah! I was committed to that line.
8, 7, 6.
Oh no! Oh, I'm perched somewhere. Where am I? Uh-oh. I'm perched somewhere, but upside down this time. Don't make me walk, please. I did not get into this hobby to walk. Ah! I slid right into it.
3, 2, 1.
Oh!
Timer 1 up.
Oh! Oh, it's back behind, isn't it? Of course it is. I think I see the black and white container thing. I think I know exactly where it is. Should be right down here. Where you at, little buddy? There you are. Hi. All right, let's fly the rest of this battery, and then we'll move over to the other rig. Hey, hey. Oh God, I was flipping the switch to get the OSD back on. Oh wow! See, that's why you don't do snap flips. They're just silly. We got this. Get out of there. Get out. Get. Would you get? Just get out of there. Oh! Battery's dead. All right. So here's the tune on this rig that you were just looking at. Simplified tuning. D gains are at 1.1. Feed forward is at 0.8 because I don't like it. P&I gains 1.0 standard. D max is at 1.4. I love D max. I gains pitch roll all standard, and then the master multiplier is cranked at 1.8. You can get away with that on tiny whoops, even when the motors and props are kind of banged up. And then the what is this D-term tuning? D-term multiplier. So there's my D max. There's my D gains. What the hell is this? What is D-term tuning? Is that... What is that? Brandon, you happen to know what that is? I don't. Alright, so that's what you were just looking at. That tune is pretty much mirrored on this other rig, but the propellers that are on this other rig that we're about to fly are significantly heavier. And so the response time is lower. Ramdango says, hit a hi-hat, almost. Ramdango says, GNB 380? No, this is a Mobula 6. These are little tiny batteries. The little 300, little folded cell 300s from CiottiFPV. All right, so we're going to put that rig aside, and now we're going to fire up the rig with the Weebleed 28,500s on these prototype propellers. And now these are the more drastic prototype propellers. And I'm not totally surprised that they're from Gemfan, that this is a problem that I'm having. Hopefully I can recreate the problem. Let's take a look.
Low battery.
All right, so I got to do it without slamming into the into a gate. Okay. I do think that these props are significantly slower when just cruising around like this. If I put the nose down, I can probably pick up... It's probably not like that, but... Man, it's hard to see. Hold on. Oops. Didn't throw it up quite high enough. Let's do this. Let me go upstairs. That'll be way easier to... Oh my god. That'll make it way easier to see this behavior. Because I'll have a little bit more vertical space to kind of play with. Although now you guys aren't going to be able to see shit. Look at that woo light. Look at that woo light just killing it. Making that Aurora Borealis in the ceiling. Ooh. Look at that. Alright, so I can do it up here like this. Oh man, it's barely doing it. I think I can maybe see it. Oh man, it is barely doing it. You see that big chunk of prop wash though at the bottom there? That's response time related. The bi-blades aren't doing that. Man, I swear to God I noticed it last night. Much more so than I did just now. And that was doing it down here. Let me keep trying to reproduce it. Ah. Alright, let's see. Wow, no, I don't think it's doing it all of a sudden. This battery has just had its ass handed to it. I think I can maybe see it a little bit. So, we talked about what it is. It's an instability at 0 throttle. And we've also kind of talked about what is causing it. I had my eyes closed for the end of that move, by the way. I thought I was going to hit myself in the face. Oh no, oh no, ruined my flow. So yeah, we talked about what's causing it on the one rig versus the other rig. Uh-oh, uh-oh, uh-oh. So we're gonna tune around it, but let's finish up this battery. We'll put a fresh battery on here. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to try to make the behavior much worse. Let me do that. So I'm going to turn the PID tune way the hell down on this. This thing is cranked. Master multiplier is up at 1.6. Let's move it down to 1.0. That's going to decrease the P, the I, and the D values. So this is going to be a much looser tune. And that should bring this behavior out even more. Wow, you can really feel it. Good God. Alright, so let's see. It wasn't inverted long enough to really be able to tell. Let me run upstairs. God, you can even... I can even tell, like, there's just mid-throttle wobbles going on all of a sudden now. Alright, ready? You should really be able to tell it this time. There's obviously a ton of prop wash at the bottom there now. But I don't know if you guys could tell, but it was definitely there. Like when we were inverted, it was definitely not as locked in. So now we're kind of reproducing the behavior.
Telemetry lost.
The rest, what I want you guys to understand is that we're gonna. I think the problem is still there. It's not as drastic as it was last night, but the bad behavior is still there. The rest of the tune is fine. All right, we are targeting this one bad behavior right now, and then we're gonna talk more about the tune. But for right now, we're gonna target just this one behavior, which is an instability, not enough PID loop authority or power or ability to control whatever external stuff at idle. This is that battery that was wet the other day. It's wet again. So there's definitely a little puncture that's letting the juice out. Unbelievably, it flew completely fine the other day, though. So we're going to keep I'm going to put it on there right now, actually. All right, so now I have killed... So ignore the prop wash. Having the master I would never fly a rig with the master multiplier turned down like this. There's just no reason. So ignore that and pretend like we're just targeting that one individual bad behavior. Which is a problem at 0 throttle. Brandon's Big Beans typed something upside down. Cool. So, actually, let me try to get it to do that. I really want it to... I really want to show you guys that wobble, if I can. I think you could kind of see it there. You know where you can really see the PID tunes turn down? In ground effect. Ready? When I fly really low to the ground, notice that it'll start wobbling. Yeah, see, I mean, I notice it every once in a while. It's hard for you guys to notice it because you're not on the sticks. Try this again. Man, well, so here's another thing, all right? My eyes were just closed again. This is basically a completely stock PID tune. Look how good this thing flies. This is why when people ask me how to, like, I just bought this rig, what should I do to the tune? I tell them nothing. Because this is a stock PID tune. And it flies fucking great. Yes, if I... Wow, see, it didn't even prop wash there. I was about to say, yes, if I force it into prop wash, it'll prop wash. But Jesus, just barely. There you go. There's a little bit of prop wash. There was none there, though. Like, it's literally hard to get the damn thing to prop wash. So, for the record, you do not need to tune anymore. You used to. For sure you used to. But you really don't need to anymore. The stock tune is really good. All that being said, let's try to fix this bad behavior. So one of the options is just to crank the PID tune up. You can just turn the master multiplier up, and that's going to give more PID authority. I already had it cranked up to 1.6, so I already had it turned up pretty good. So we're going to pretend like your PID tune is already at the limit in this case. And as Brandon typed into the chat earlier, the easy button to fix this problem is... Where the hell is it in here? Thrust linear. I don't like thrust linear. What thrust linear does is it gives you extra PID authority at 0 throttle. So we're going to move thrust linear all the way up to 20, which is a fairly aggressive number. And we're going to see how it affects things. So at 0 throttle, the PIDs are now more active. The PIDs are now being multiplied by that thrust linear value. I think it's a decimal value. I think they're being multiplied by 0.2 right now. So what you'll notice is at 0 throttle, inverted, I'm going to get sucked down to the ground more. I'm going to have less hang time. I might be able to show you guys that better upstairs. So try to think back about the hang time that we had a minute ago. Still have pretty good hang time. I think Duke just attacked it. He did. He's very brave once. His initial reaction is bravery, and then he runs away. Now, I can tell that there's less hang time, for sure. See how it's getting pulled down? Let's turn it off. Let's turn it back to 0. Although we just discharged the battery a little bit. But we're going to pull it down to 0, and we're going to see if we can really tell. Again, it's going to be hard for you guys to tell because you're not on the sticks. So you're just going to have to kind of take my word for it.
Telemetry lost.
Come on. Arm, you bastard.
Telemetry recovered.
All right, ready?
Low battery.
Try to do the same exact thing. One more. Yeah, there's a little bit more hang time for sure. So we got the PID loop turned down, and I mean, even with it off right now, it's barely wobbling. But that is the.
Lost. Telemetry recovered.
Man, I was hoping that it would be all wobbly so that you guys could see the behavior go away, but yeah. Damn it. So the other thing that you can do to help with the let me just keep flying it. Let me try to get it to do the wobbly thing. The other thing that you can do is switch from 48K to 24K. This rig is on 48K. Hold on. Nah, it's like locked in. It's not doing it anymore. I don't know why it was doing it last night. Yeah, so the other thing that you can do, so as we talked about, oh, for fuck's sake. As we talked about, I just hit the motors and shot them everywhere. Oh, my face is hot. Jesus, my face is very hot. I use a different soap in the shower, and I think I might be like breaking out a little bit on my face. Let me take these off for a minute. The PID loop works by speeding the motors up or slowing the motors down. The higher you go on your PIDs, typically the more it's just going to be speeding the motors up. There's not much braking force available. So even with like stock PIDs, it's going to use the majority of the braking force. So as the PIDs go up, it can't really add more braking force, so it's just going to add more thrust. It's not actually how PIDs work. Technically, the PIDs are timing. The P, the I, and the D is timing related. The only way to change the actual amount of power that the PID loop asks for is with I haven't changed it in a while. PID sum. PID sum on both pitch and roll and then yaw. All of these rigs, the first thing that I do is crank the PID sum all the way up to 100%. So these all have that PID sum cranked up. But yeah, it's you can think of it in terms of as the PID values go up, it is going to use thrust more. You're going to notice the flight characteristics are going to show it using thrust more. Your PWM value has a significant effect on the braking of the motors. So if this behavior was bad enough for me to keep poking away at it, one of the things that I could try, all these tiny whoops are on 48K because it really does help tiny whoops more than anything else. One of the ways that I could specifically target this behavior would be to switch it from 48 to 24. I'm not going to do that because I can't get the damn behavior to I can't reproduce the behavior that I was getting last night. Welcome to FPV. But yeah, that would be another way to attack this issue. And now that would be a way to attack this issue if you didn't want to sacrifice that inverted hang time with thrust linear. If I added that thrust linear in and I was really unhappy with the change in hang time, I could say, okay, well, let me switch from 48K to 24K. That's going to sacrifice some thrust, right? So that's the problem, especially with tiny whoops. The problem with 24K is that there's a noticeable decrease in thrust, but there's a noticeable increase in braking. So you would, in that, in this scenario here, thrust linear versus PWM frequency, you would have to decide what's more important to me, more off-throttle inverted hang time or more thrust. And what's interesting about that is more thrust will give you more upward momentum for more inverted hang time. So that would actually be a really hard decision to make. I'm kind of glad that I don't have to make that decision. I'm willing to bet that in that scenario, in most cases, thrust linear would be a better fix. Just mainly because the tiny whoops really love 48K. The motors are tiny, the magnets are tiny, they're turning horrendously high RPMs, and the higher PWM frequency has more to do with that. So yeah, those are the main ways to attack a off-throttle instability, which is a fairly common thing with ducted rigs, right? One of the other interesting ways, though, that I did want to mention, one of the interesting things when it comes to the physics and the aerodynamics behind ducted rigs is props in versus props out. Tiny whoops have always really benefited from props out because when you're in a really hard banking turn with both yaw and roll on, the outside motor can get overworked. And when your props in. But Mark Spatz recently put a video out, and I'm dying to do this on my Cinewhoops, where when you're trying to drop altitude with a Cinewhoop, and it does this thing where it starts to ramp up uncontrollably when you're at zero throttle, props in helps that behavior a lot. For anybody wondering what's happening when that behavior starts to... Yeah, and by the way, this battery is all wet again. Yeah, this battery is leaking, but it flies completely fine. Very strange. I wonder how much it'll have to leak before it stops performing completely fine. What's happening when a tiny whoop does that, a Cinewhoop does that when it winds up, is you're diving. It has the aerodynamic efficiency of a fucking brick. So as you're dropping altitude, it's getting a bunch of air hitting it at a weird angle, and the ducts and all this shit that's on it is making the air turbulent and go all over the place. And when the air is turbulent, the rig wants to move around. Well, the PID loop is using as much braking as it can, which is not much. Well, once it runs out of braking, it's going to have to ramp up the thrust to keep the damn thing from wobbling around. And it wobbles so bad because it's so aerodynamically awful that it has to add a shitload of thrust to fix that situation. So yeah, when you have a rig that when you're dropping altitude at zero throttle, it starts to uncontrollably add power and wind up, you have two options. You can turn the PID loop down and then it'll just wobble. It won't wind up, but it'll just wobble, and that looks awful. Or you can leave the PID loop where it's at and let it ramp up, because it ramping up is it fixing the wobble that it's picking up 4,000 or 8,000 times a second, depending on what your PID loop rate is at. So yeah, sort of damned if you do, damned if you don't situation in a way. Not really, but is this the leaky one? This is the leaky one. Oh, I want to have it leak upwards. So yeah, there you guys go. That's what I wanted to talk about from a tuning perspective. I'm really annoyed that maybe it was this rig with the bi-blades. Let's put this bi-blade rig back up in the air. I'm really annoyed that it's not doing the behavior because it's a lot easier to show you guys what's happening when it's actually doing it, and then you can see it go away, and you can be like, oh. But I mean, we talked all the way through it. Like I gave you as much as I possibly can to kind of explain what was happening, why it was happening, and what the different options are for solutions to that. So let's see. Maybe it's this rig. Well, let me look at the PID tune on this rig real quick. Simplified tuning. So yeah, the master multiplier on this rig is all the way up at 1.8. What the hell is this D-term mult? What is that? Gyro tuning on? What is this? Gyro tuning? Gyro multiplicate? What is that? Yeah, this rig is very similar to the other one. Let me see if I can get it to do that weird thing. Go upstairs so I can really fire it around. This battery just sagged like absolute hell. Maybe it was just like a really saggy battery. You never know. I'm gonna stay away from Duke so he doesn't have to. Let's see if we can catch him protecting Mama. Let's see. What'll he do? Will he lunge at it? Is he gonna lunge at it? He's just cowering in the corner. Sorry, Duke. I really wish he wasn't so terrified of the tiny whoops. Nah, man, it's completely locked in. Oh, God. Try it one more time, though. Oh, fart. That was a hard one. Coming back down. Yeah, I can't get it to do it. That's super annoying. That happens all the time outside because, like, you'll go to a spot that has, like, a weird swirling wind, or it'll be, like, a windy day, but it shouldn't happen inside. The only thing I can think of is that maybe last night this vent was on, and the vent was shooting. So it was doing it over here. When I do this, this is when it was doing it. Here, back here, and I swear to God it was doing it up here when I was doing this. And so I guess the only thing, maybe this vent was blowing hard enough to create like some weird little turbulence that I was just flying through. I don't really know, but oh boy. Yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know. Let's get some music on, fly a couple of batteries. Epidemic Sounds, what you got for me tonight? Anything? Hold Up from Fashion? Ooh! This is a good one. Let's make some magic, friends. Let's snarfle the Garthog. Charlie Brown Tree almost got me. You see that? Ooh. Oh. 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 Uh-oh. Going into the shelving unit. Oh boy! Oh boy! Hey! Ah! Oh God! What's happening? Look at this little thing I figured out last night. Hold on. I have to not suck to be able to do this. Alright, ready? Come on! Stop sucking. Oh, boy, hold on. I know the solution. It's never me. It's always fixable in software, right? Oh, no, I'm in the wrong thing. Not enough throttle expo. That's definitely the issue. noticeably better. Jesus. There you go. Gotta get into it. Come on! Ah! Ah! Hold on. There it is. Oh God! Let's keep going. Let me fire up the other rig because I just realized I left the tune all jacked up. And actually, I'm curious. Let me see if it's easier to do that little move with this other rig on the prototype props.
Telemetry recovered.
Filter settings are damn near stock. Stock filtering is brilliant nowadays. Simplified tuning. Yeah, master multiplier is all the way down to 1.0. God, the stock tune is just so good. Fuck. Whatever the hell this D-term multiplier is different on the other one. Hold on, let me turn the... I've been actually meaning to turn the Throttle Expo is on 40 on this one. Okay, good. That's probably why it was... I might remember it. Come on, ARM, you jerk! So that's basically what I'm doing here, but I'm changing elevations in the middle of it. See if I can get this dialed in. When I'm trying to do it as an orbit. And it's tough. They're just tiny little gaps. I was really locked into it for a little bit last night. Oh boy. I don't know if I can fit through there. And I was even trying it here. Ah, that's tough. Ah, I just caught that chair. Come on, let's go. Woo! Oh, so close to getting through that third one. Ooh, I tried to really cheat that and turn in extra early. Oh, ah. Oh, just caught it. Ah, I thought I could back it around the corner there. Crash prevention. Oh, shit! That crashed right in front of me. I think that hit the keyboard, actually. All right, if I'm gonna do that super sketchy power loop, I need to make sure that I clear the studio lights. Let's try it again because it's my favorite power loop ever. Okay, then there's that, and I'm stuck. All right, hold on. We were doing it last night. We went through here, right? Oh, that. Oh! With a snare drum bop. What do you know about that? I don't know. It's like I did it on purpose. Woo! God! I literally ducked and then it made me crash. Oh, stop it. Woo! Get in there. Get in there. Uh-oh. I wonder what it typed. What did you type, Tiny Whoop? Tiny Fwoop? That was the rig with the prototype props. One more battery. Let's put it through the prototype rig. Prototype prop rig. What's up, Marcel? Ethic says, is this rig messed up or am I gaslighting myself? Yeah, exactly. Alright, last battery. Charlie Brown tree trying to get me again. I won't let it. Ah! Oh. Oh. That guy's hang... I don't like the dangle on that guy's hang low. Oh, stop it. I can still get under it, though. Almost. Oh, come on now. The business! Giving that tree the business, yo. Oh, hi-hat got me. Oh, wait, somebody asked for a hi-hat hit. Here comes the hi-hat hit. Whoa, the triple! Oh, cheating the shit out of that corner. Ow. Oh, God! Alright, hold on. It's right here in front of me. Yikes. The couch is like just a little too close to that tree to be able to get some like really wild tree shit going. Like that, and then like backing it out backwards. I always just bump into the couch. Oh! It's the wall that I try not to hit. Oh, the wire got me, really? Couldn't see it. Oh, I almost got stuck in the tree. Stop it. Stop it. Let me live. Oh, wow, that was weird. What was that about? Strange. No, no, no! Stuck in the tree! Oh, it's properly stuck in the tree. Hold on. Oh, it looks cool in there. It's got some red lights on it. It's festive as fuck. Woo! No news at all, Michael D, on when these prototype props are going to be coming out. Woo! Let's try the TV power loop. Oh, almost. Almost. Try one more time. Just enough battery for one more hit. Oh, nope, didn't clear the TV. Hey. Yeah! Oh my god. Jesus, it's 7:45? How did that happen? Loudmouth McGillicuddy up in here, talking tuning and shit. Okay. Let's kill this. And My forehead's very itchy. Come on. Tell me what you're at. There we go. Needs to be plugged in. What do you think of that, friends? Who's got questions? I've got answers. Maybe. Sometimes. If I don't know the answer, I at least know who to send you to for it. All right. Goggles are plugged in. Transmitter getting put over here. It's still raining. It's going to rain forever now in Atlanta. Atlanta is now Rain-Lanta. Bob Brute. No, we got that. Ramzago says, hit a hi-hat. We got that. Michael D. Here we go. Michael D says, hello. Rewatched the stream with your dad on today. Very cool guy, and I can see why the Gangly Gangles is such a cool guy himself. Thank you, brother. Yeah, I'm super lucky to have such an awesome dude for a dad. Michael D says, have you ever seen the C-clip on a motor work its way to a slight angle out the slot of the shaft? Michael D, I saw you mention this somewhere else. I've never personally seen that, but it doesn't necessarily surprise me. That's crazy. That's crazy that happened. That's absolutely crazy if that's happened. But with how kind of shitty these motors are, it doesn't necessarily surprise me. I think maybe you might have hit it really hard and it did that, or I suspect it wasn't all the way snapped in from the factory, and then maybe you hit it just right. That's crazy. That's a crazy, crazy, crazy thing. Ramdongo says, nice to catch a stream. Ciotti and all. Good social. Ethan W says, that battery is just peeing its pants. Each time you take it on a ride. Athix says, is this rig messed up or am I gaslighting myself? Ramdongo says, Mayan High has helped me and is a great future present in the woman of FPV. I wish her well. CiottiFPV, good on her. Definitely worth a mention. Yeah, Mayan High is awesome. We've talked every so often here and there about like how the hell to do this full time. And yeah, Lexi is just awesome. She's also very aligned with me on like social justice stuff and whatnot. So that's always cool. And we will each post loudmouth things and then message the other one, fuck yeah, and shit like that. So yeah, Lexi is a good one for sure. I wish that men could be a little bit more mature and not be such fucking morons towards her, because she's like me, a sensitive person, and yeah, I can't imagine. I cannot imagine what it's like to be an attractive female on the internet. It's not made up. Like, I've seen with my own eyes what like her and Jamie Ann and all of all females that are involved with men-dominated hobbies, although it also just happens when they walk down the street. So yeah, it's a real thing, and it's extremely frustrating. And it's also frustrating because like I take it on myself to like if let's be honest, not most, but way too many men are way over here, and then this is where we should maybe be. I take it upon myself to be all the way over here to offset all the assholes that are over here, and that's just annoying because it's just stupid. But I don't know, it's oh god, if you see someone being that guy, call them an asshole. Like, the only way that they're gonna learn is if they get called an asshole enough times. Call people out on this shit. Don't just look the other way. It's the only, they're like, you know, it's so frustrating. It's so annoying. Michael D says the C-clip shift happened on some of the Happy Model RS0702 motors on both my Mobula 7 HD and regular ELRS. If it happens again, I'll take pictures. Wow, it happened more than once? That's insane. Athix says I was on a pole in the rain. What does that mean? On a pole? Like a telephone pole? Like a light pole? Ramdago says, what's a lightweight brushed AIO for a light build? Oh, God. I don't know, man. I don't even think you can buy brushed AIOs anymore. You'll have to find them... you'll have to, like, find them in the used marketplace. Maybe they still sell them. I don't know. But I don't remember, man. I really don't. I do not remember. Hey! I'm thinking of changing the... I'm thinking about changing up the 65 millimeter high quality expert build on Joshua's website to the T motor. Yes, a telephone pole. Good Lord, that's terrifying. To the T. So I think I'm gonna take the Acro B off, and then this can come off. So at the moment, this is kind of an annoying build because this motor is not going to have the right plug headers for this. So you're going to have to direct solder it or switch the plug headers. The main reason that I chose these HGLRC motors is that, unlike the picture, they do have a PCB on them, and they are commonly in stock. So I'm thinking of changing this build on Joshua's site to be the T-motor AIO, and then I can also remove this, which will be really nice. So T-motor AIO, I'll get rid of this motor, switch this out to probably an 802, 25,000 from someone else, and then the rest of it kind of stays the same. But then I have to do I have to figure out a camera and canopy setup. So yeah. I don't know why I'm telling you guys this. Oh, yeah, in order to do that, I don't want to just... has anybody ordered and built the T-Motor AIO yet? I'm pretty sure I'm just going to have to order one myself. I think I saw it on Pyrodrone. Take a quick look. Could have sworn I saw it on here. Oh, another set of 1002s, 21,000 kV, not high enough. Oh, from sub 250. I wonder who's making that sub 250 stuff. Oh, look at a Happy Model EP2 in purple. I'm into that. Looks like HQ has some new 2.9s coming. That's kind of interesting. Man, I could have sworn that I saw it on here. There it is. Oh, $66, you thieving whores. Oh, Morton Upshot says it's on Amazon. That's tempting. I guess $65 ain't bad. The only thing I don't like about this, we might need to change the name of this build. I mean, so we called it the expert build because you had to direct solder the motors to the Acro B. I guess we can drop expert build, and this can just be called the high quality build. So yeah, I don't know. Yeah, we'll just call it the high quality build. But I feel like I need to get this board and at least put it up in the air to make sure it works out of the box. But I don't know. It'll work out of the box. It'll be fine. Why do they recommend an 0803? That's weird. Oh, 0803 or 0802. So yeah. Building drone is more simple. Just solder the camera. There you go. More simple. Oh, does this not have a plug for the camera? 4 plugs for the motors. Yeah, you gotta solder the camera on. Good for you. So it's got an ELRS antenna, and then here's the port for the video antenna. I guess we're not testing any of these motors tonight because it's 7:54. I'm fucking starving, and yeah, so we're gonna have to test these motors somewhere else, some other time. Whoop Tuning 101 Q&A. Ripping the Gemfan Proto 1.2 inch props. And I only got one little timestamp. That's ridiculous. I'm gonna have to come back in here and add a couple more timestamps. Michael D says RDQ has it. I prefer to support PyroJoe, if I'm honest with you guys. All right, friends, bye. I'm gonna shut down. I'm hungry. We'll do some motor testing another time. I promise. I promise. Thanks for hanging out, friends. Sorry we didn't do the. I feel bad now. Let's at least test a couple motors. Let's test a couple of the weird ones. We're gonna test the Zing. We're gonna test the. Because this is actually pretty quick to test these. Is it though? Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is. Hold on. We're going to test the Zing. We're going to test the 0803 16,000. We'll go super oddball. We'll test the ultra oddballs. And then, and I'm going to test these with, I'm going to do some wacky shit here with this testing. I'm going to try to debunk the low. Hold on. Let me figure this out real quick. Where's that 0802 30,000? We're going to test an 0802 30,000. We're going to test the Zing 0802 22,000. Just because I want to see what the Zing motor makes. We're going to test the Happy model 1102 19,000 with a quad blade prop. And then we're going to test this Happy model 0803 16,000 kV with a big heavy prop, with a quad blade prop. No, we're not. It's going to take too long. It's going to take too long. We'll do it next time. I'll set a frame or two up with these motors bolted to it, and then I can just move the AIO around. Maybe I'll do it with that T-motor. Maybe when the T-motor AIO shows up, we'll use that to do some testing, because that'll be like a fresh, non-molested, non-pounded on rig. AIO, rather. Thanks for hanging, friends. Michael D says, no, we got that. Ramdoggo says, most advanced in the industry, and the boys still leave crass comments equals mile high. Yeah, for real. Ramdoggo says, how many hours does it take to put a cam in the Mobula 6 hood? And then ant? You can't put an ant in there. You have to run the Nano 3. Here comes some more flying. Hey, by the way, on the intro of the stream, that was supposed to be a real steady, smoothed video, but man, it was not. It was all over the damn place. So I'm gonna have to rerun that footage through real steady. I don't know what the hell happened, but man, that was a hot goddamn mess. Here comes some more flying from that same place. I love every single one of your big silly faces. Have an awesome night. I'll see you guys on Friday. Black hole, and then this button, and bye-bye.